Strangely enough, even people in cults, and perhaps especially people in cults, don't appreciate that the situation is very dire. The governing class and all who obey them are very evil. So let's consider maybe 4 things about why they're evil. I'll make this video short. Number 1, satanic abortions. There are people who kill their children in a ritual manner, right? So they basically get an abortion on a certain day that's satanic or something. They have that kind of mentality, right? There's one chick went on record and said that she kills her babies. And you know that there's people that think like that. You know, they have a bunch of sex. It's inconvenient to have a baby, so they kill them. So no matter how you slice it, it's a satanic kind of sacrifice that's self-destructive. They kill their offspring so they can live an evil life. There's no excuse. It's not Abraham and Isaac. That's the anti-Abraham and Isaac. You literally sacrifice your offspring so you can live an evil life and be a comfortable liberal, you know, or conservative or any other worldly thing. It's disgusting. It's pathetic. It shows extreme lack of judgment. Okay? The second point is people who come from a long line of evil people, right? Who are the people we have in the world today? They're basically the token minorities that betrayed the other minorities who fought to the death. If you didn't fight to the death because you saw that the world was going in an evil direction, you're probably a bad person. My line is one of the exceptions because I looked around and said no one, including people fighting to the death, is smart enough to lead humanity and make them a man. Now, I'll really briefly touch on this. Part of the reason humanity is doomed is because their lines of nerds and brutes, right? Stone Cold and The Rock, and you know they're both kind of a little bit nerdy, kind of brutish, right? Frodo, Urkel, Carlton, what have you. Okay. They needed me to make them men. That's part of why they changed my image and my voice, because they want to confuse you about who I am. And if you saw me in my true form before the end of my videos, you'd have no doubt in your mind that God put me to lead society. He had a natural leadership way about me. It's greatly reduced now. So they come from a long line of evil people, bootlickers, nerds, okay, and they're incapable of finding love, the martial art principles in their true form, etc. by themselves. Okay, they just deal in theater arts. It's like a gladiator isn't a true martial artist, UFC fighter, WWF guy, boxer, so on and so forth. These people we want clown. Look at Deontay Wilder these days. Look at Tyson Fury. These are clown people. These aren't serious people. They aren't capable of love. Think about it. These guys had a love story with Tyson Fury. Deontay Wilder. It's fucking stupid. It's corny. It might be American culture. You might say, wow, that's American. But it's not potent love. When you look at every movie that was ever made and you scrutinize it carefully, you think about the privilege of the actor, the kind of person they are, the kind of person they're presenting. That's not true love derived from justice. That's just white supremacy and token minority, etc. garbage. Number 3, the cults like the Klan, the Masons, the Oddfellows, the Knights of Malta, the frats and the cults and the social clubs and the royal families. These guys are horrible, horrible, shallow, horrible people who propound shallowness, which is the same as propounding evil. For example, if you're in the church and you propound shallowness instead of spiritual depth, fuck you in the church for, but to propound the spirit of the Antichrist. Number 4, when you ask yourself, how evil is the government? Oh, they do these psychological operations. They're doing drug dealing and human trafficking. They're turning a blind eye to these things. They have a very greedy corporate agenda. How evil do you have to be to do those things? And what do you do to ensure that people are evil? If you're in the government and you're better off hiring Satanists because of the types of things you do than people who are sincerely good and likely to tell the world on you. Okay, how do you ensure that everyone's evil enough to follow orders and to help you and to not work against you? Okay, that strongly screams that it is hopeless, that it's an evil society with no way back. Okay, so they make it so people must embrace evil. So these 4 points, okay, make it clear. You also must understand the difference between being sincere, okay, or trying to be sincere, being nice, and being righteous. Those are 3 different things. Righteousness, when we look at the different translations in the Bible, is godliness, not trying to be sincere, right? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Not being nice, okay? Do not yoke yourself to sinners, but being righteous, which is morally precise, and that generates righteousness. And you can only be morally precise if you don't cheat the righteous out of their right to lead. Okay? So that's another point. The government is 100% adverse to me being in charge because they don't want righteousness to be conveyed to me. They want to embrace the West, the whites, the Jews, and the LGBT community. No offense. Their governing class will say they're ill-gotten gains. They want those ill-gotten gains and their families to rule, and not righteousness. And they're the least righteous because of what they're doing.